I gave my breath to an alien royal. Now her people call me a hero. Starfall encounter. Commander Lyra Novak adjusted the environmental controls on her specialized exosuit, double-checking the seals before stepping into the Grand Conclave chamber aboard the Harmonium station. As Earth's chief diplomatic envoy to the Galactic Alliance, she knew today's meeting could determine humanity's fate among the stars. Final atmospheric readings look stable, Commander, Lieutenant Reed reported, handing her a data tablet. The Astralese delegation requested a higher percentage of argon than we anticipated, but the chamber can accommodate. Lyra nodded, her focus already on the massive doors opposite their entrance. After decades of isolation following the Proxima incident, this was Earth's first formal audience with the Astralese Dominion, the most ancient and respected civilization in the known galaxy. Remember, she told her small team, the Astralese see diplomacy as an art form. Every gesture carries weight. No sudden movements, no interruptions. The chamber hummed as the environmental systems finished their calibration. The observation deck above filled with representatives from a dozen alien species, all eager to witness this historic meeting. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, distrusted by many after the misunderstandings that led to the Proxima incident. The opposing doors parted silently, revealing the Astralese delegation. Lyra had studied their physiology extensively, but recordings failed to capture their ethereal presence. Tall and willowy, their translucent skin shifted in colors that seemed to reflect their emotions, currently a serene blue-green. Their eyes, four to an Astralese, were pupilless silver orbs that appeared to see through rather than at things. Leading them was High Sentinel Orion, distinguished by the elaborate respiratory apparatus he wore. Unlike other Astralese, the royal lineage required specialized atmospheric conditions, a higher concentration of a rare gas found only in their home system. Commander Novak, the High Sentinel spoke, his voice resonating with harmonic undertones that the translator struggled to fully capture. Earth honors us with your presence. Lyra performed the traditional greeting, keeping her movements deliberate and fluid. The honor is ours, High Sentinel. Earth comes seeking understanding and cooperation. The formalities proceeded according to protocol, both delegations exchanging ceremonial gifts and reciting the ancient phrases of diplomatic recognition. Lyra felt herself relaxing slightly as they moved through the familiar rhythm of diplomacy. Then everything changed in an instant. A sharp tremor ran through the station, sending ripples through the carefully balanced atmospheric mix. Warning lights flashed as the environmental systems struggled to compensate. Structural integrity breach in Section 7. Reed shouted, checking his monitors. Station's automatic countermeasures are activating. The emergency protocols engaged, sealing the chamber to preserve its specialized atmosphere. But something was wrong. The system was overcompensating, pumping in too much oxygen while draining the argon and specialized gas mixture the Astralese required. High Sentinel Orion stumbled, his respiratory apparatus emitting a high-pitched whine. Around him, his attendants moved in alarm, their skin flushing a panicked crimson. His breathing system is failing, one of them called out. The atmospheric shift is too sudden. Lyra saw the High Sentinel collapse to his knees, silver eyes wide with distress as his apparatus sputtered and died. The other Astralese froze, caught in the grip of their culture's rigid protocols that forbade interference with royal medical matters by non-royal hands. Without hesitation, Lyra rushed to the fallen diplomat's side, ignoring Reed's warning shout. She recognized the symptoms of atmospheric poisoning from her training. The Astralese royal physiology was rejecting the oxygen-rich environment. In one swift motion, she removed her own exosuit's respiratory module, a compact device that created a small envelope of breathable air around her face. The module was designed to function in nearly any environment, creating the perfect gas mixture for human survival. Commander, no. Reed called out. You can't survive the mixed atmosphere without protection. Lyra ignored him, carefully placing her breathing module over the High Sentinel's specialized respiratory orifices, not a mouth as humans understood it, but a series of delicate gill-like structures at the base of his throat. She quickly adjusted the settings, programming it to filter out oxygen and enhance the remaining argon. The effect was immediate. The High Sentinel's color stabilized, the dangerous purple fading back to a healthier blue. But for Lyra, the consequences were swift and severe. The chamber's atmosphere, now rich in gases toxic to humans, seared her lungs with each breath. She stumbled back, fighting to remain conscious as her vision blurred. The last thing she saw before darkness claimed her was the astonished faces of the Astralese delegation, their skin now pulsing with a brilliant gold she had never seen before. Lyra awoke in the station's medical bay, a standard-issue breathing mask covering her face. Chief Medical Officer Janessa Patel stood nearby, reviewing readings on a holographic display. "Welcome back to the land of the living, Commander," Patel said, relief evident in her voice. "That was either the bravest or most foolish thing I've ever witnessed." Lyra tried to speak, found her throat raw, and settled for a questioning look. "The High Sentinel is fine," Patel assured her. "Thanks to your quick thinking. But there's been an unexpected development." Before she could elaborate, the medical bay doors opened to admit Lieutenant Reed, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. "Commander, you've caused quite the interstellar incident," he said, lowering his voice despite them being alone. "The Astralese communication channels are buzzing with news about you. They're calling you Breath Giver in their language." Lyra removed her mask momentarily. "I just did what was necessary," she rasped. "It's more complicated than that," Reed continued. "What you did, giving your breathing apparatus to the High Sentinel, it matches an ancient Astralese ritual called the Breath Bond. In their culture, it's essentially a proposal of lifelong partnership." Lyra stared at him, processing the implications. "Are you saying?" "According to their oldest traditions," came a melodious voice from the doorway, "we are now bound by the most sacred of connections." High Sentinel Orion stood there, tall and regal, his skin now shimmering with patterns of gold and silver that Lyra had never observed in any of her briefings on Astralese physiology. He had replaced his damaged respiratory apparatus with a smaller, more elegant version. "Your actions have done more for human-Astralis relations than decades of careful negotiation," he continued, approaching her bedside. "To offer one's breath is the greatest gift in our culture. It symbolizes the willingness to give life itself." "I wasn't thinking about symbolism," Lyra admitted. "I just couldn't let you die." "And that instinct," Orion replied, his 4 silver eyes studying her with newfound intensity, "reveals more about humanity than all your diplomatic words. Perhaps there is wisdom in this accident of fate." He extended a slender, 7-fingered hand toward her. "My people believe those who share breath are connected by cosmic design. I find myself curious to discover what this connection might mean for our peoples." As Lyra hesitantly took his hand, she realized the diplomatic mission had just become infinitely more complicated, and perhaps infinitely more promising. The floating screens around them lit up with transmissions from across the galaxy. On every display was the image of her giving her breathing apparatus to the High Sentinel, with flowing Astralese script beneath. "What are they saying?" she asked. The High Sentinel's expression shifted, his skin rippling with what appeared to be genuine warmth. "They are saying that perhaps humans have a place among the stars after all." Part 2, Celestial Bond. The observation deck aboard Harmonium Station offered the most spectacular view in the neutral zone, 3 spiral arms of the galaxy stretching across the infinite canvas of space. Commander Lyra Novak stood alone at the viewport, watching distant ships pulse through the darkness like fireflies. 2 weeks had passed since what Earth's diplomatic corps was now calling the respiration incident. The Astralese had another term for it, the Celestial Union, which was causing diplomatic headaches across 3 star systems. Her communication device chimed for the 15th time that day. Another message from General Hiroshi, no doubt, demanding updates on how she planned to gracefully extricate herself from the accidental bonding with High Sentinel Orion. "Commander," Lieutenant Reed's voice came through her earpiece. "The Astralese royal vessel is requesting docking clearance. High Sentinel Orion wishes to speak with you, privately." Lyra smoothed down her formal uniform, the silver and blue of Earth's diplomatic corps contrasting with the subtle iridescent pin she now wore, a gift from the Astralese delegation. "Permission granted. Direct him to the Nexus Garden." The Nexus Garden was Harmonium's pride, a massive biodome where plants from hundreds of worlds grew together in carefully maintained microclimates. It was considered neutral ground, away from both human and Astralese diplomatic quarters. High Sentinel Orion arrived without entourage, dressed in simpler robes than his ceremonial attire. His skin pulsed with gentle lavender hues that Lyra had recently learned indicated thoughtfulness. "Commander Novak," he said, his translator now a more elegant design that complemented rather than obscured his features. "Or may I call you Lyra, given our unique circumstances?" "Lyra is fine," she replied, gesturing toward a seating area surrounded by bioluminescent orchids from Tau Ceti. "I think we've moved beyond formalities." As they sat, environmental fields adjusted automatically around them, creating a pocket where both could breathe comfortably without assistance. "I imagine your superiors have been as vocal about our situation as mine have been," Orion said, his 4 silver eyes observing her with curious intensity. Lyra laughed briefly. "Vocal is putting it mildly. I've received 23 urgent communications demanding I find a way to nullify whatever bond was created, without triggering an interstellar incident. The Dominion Council has been similarly insistent, though in the opposite direction," Orion replied, his skin rippling with what she now recognized as amusement. "They see our bond as an unprecedented diplomatic opportunity. The first human-Astralis connection of its kind. Is there precedent for dissolving such a bond?" Lyra asked carefully. "If it becomes diplomatically necessary?" Orion was quiet for a moment, his gaze drifting to the stars visible through the garden's transparent ceiling. "There are ancient provisions for separation, yes. But before we discuss that possibility, there's something you should understand about what happened that day." He turned to face her directly. "The breath bond is indeed sacred to my people, but what has captivated them isn't simply the ritual itself. It's that a human, a species many Astralese still view with suspicion after the Proxima incident, would risk death to save one of us. The symbolism has resonated across our worlds." He activated a small holographic projector, revealing news footage from Astralese Prime. Massive gatherings in ceremonial plazas, images of Lyra displayed prominently, citizens performing elaborate gestures of respect. "You've become something of a legend," he explained. "Some are calling it the beginning of a new era in galactic relations." Lyra watched the footage with growing unease. "So I'm a political symbol now?" "You're more than that," Orion said softly. "At least to me." Before she could respond, her communication device buzzed urgently. It was Reed. "Commander, we have a situation," he said, his voice tense. "Representatives from the Astralese Orthodox faction have just docked. They're demanding an immediate audience." Orion's skin flashed a sharp crimson. "The Orthodox faction? They weren't authorized to come here." "Who are they?" Lyra asked as they hurried from the garden. "Traditionalists who opposed opening relations with Earth from the beginning," Orion explained. "They believe the Proxima incident revealed humanity's true nature. They arrived at the main diplomatic chamber to find 3 Astralese with darker, almost stormy skin patterns and elaborate traditional garments adorned with ancient symbols." "Commander Novak," the leader stepped forward, bypassing formal greetings. "I am Elder Vega of the Orthodox faction. We come to challenge the legitimacy of this supposed bond between you and our High Sentinel." Lyra maintained her diplomatic composure. "Elder Vega, this is an unexpected visit. I wasn't aware the Orthodox faction had authority in matters of Astralese royal tradition." Vega's skin darkened further. "When those traditions suddenly elevate a human to a position of influence within our dominion, it becomes a matter for all Astralese." "You overstep, Vega," Orion interjected, his voice carrying a regal authority Lyra hadn't heard before. "The ancient laws regarding the breath bond are absolute." "Ancient laws that never contemplated aliens," Vega retorted. "We demand the humans submit to the revelation of essence, a truth ceremony to reveal her true intentions in this convenient accident." Gasps echoed from the gathered staff. Even Reed looked alarmed. "The revelation is a sacred, private ritual," Orion protested. "Not a political tool." Lyra touched his arm gently. "What exactly does this ritual entail?" It's a consciousness link, Orion explained reluctantly. Our species can share consciousness through respiratory connection. It would reveal your thoughts at the moment you gave me your breath. Lyra considered the implications. If she refused, the fragile progress between Earth and the Astralese might collapse. Yet submitting to alien mind probing went far beyond her authorization. I consent, she said finally, surprising everyone including herself. If it will resolve this dispute. Lyra, you don't understand what you're agreeing to, Orion whispered urgently. The link isn't just about that moment, it creates a temporary but profound connection. My people will see your true essence. She met his silver gaze steadily. Then let them see. The ritual was prepared in a special chamber, with Lyra and Orion seated facing each other, both connected to a ceremonial breathing apparatus that would link their respiratory systems. Around them, representatives from both the royal court and the Orthodox faction stood as witnesses, along with Reed as Earth's official observer. The revelation begins, intoned Elder Vega, activating the connection. Lyra felt it immediately, a presence in her mind, gentle but unmistakable. Images flowed between them, Orion's millennia-old civilization, the weight of being born into the royal lineage, his genuine hope for reconciliation with humanity. And from her side, Earth's recovery from environmental catastrophe, her determination to secure humanity's place among the stars, and most vividly, her instinctive moment of decision when she saw him struggling to breathe. There was no calculation in that moment, no diplomatic strategy, just a human reflex to preserve life, regardless of species. When the connection faded, Lyra opened her eyes to find the chamber utterly silent. Elder Vega's skin had shifted to a subdued blue. The other Orthodox representatives looked visibly shaken. The breath bond is true, Elder Vega announced formally, voice resonating with reluctant acknowledgement. Our challenge is withdrawn. As the Orthodox delegation departed, Orion moved to Lyra's side. They saw, he said quietly. Not just your thoughts in that moment, but the essence of who you are. It's changed everything. Later that evening, after hours of debriefing with Earth's Central Command, Lyra found herself once again in the Nexus Garden. She wasn't surprised when Orion joined her. Your species is remarkable, she said without preamble. What I experienced during the revelation, your history, your perception of reality, it's so much more than our sciences could capture. As is humanity, he replied, his skin now glowing with a deep blue she hadn't seen before. The Orthodox challenge has backfired completely. News of the revelation has spread throughout our systems. The fact that you willingly opened your mind has transformed you from symbol to legend. Lyra laughed. Not exactly what I planned when I accepted this assignment. The Dominion Council has sent new directives, Orion said, his tone becoming more formal. All trade restrictions against Earth are to be lifted immediately. And the Proxima territories will be returned to human stewardship. Lyra stared at him in shock. That's everything we've been negotiating for years. Yes. And there's more. He hesitated, his skin shifting to that unusual golden pattern she'd first seen after the incident. The Council has requested that I remain here, as permanent liaison to Earth. To explore the implications of our bond. Something unspoken hung between them, the memory of shared consciousness, the unexpected compatibility they'd discovered between their fundamentally different minds. And what do you think of that directive? Lyra asked softly. Orion's 4 eyes seemed to smile. I think some accidents of fate deserve further investigation. Don't you? A notification appeared on the garden's atmospheric display, a live broadcast from Earth showing celebrations in major cities, images of Earth and Astralese symbols displayed side by side. It seems we've started something, Lyra mused, watching the scenes of interspecies celebration. Indeed, Orion agreed. He hesitantly extended his hand in the human gesture he'd clearly studied. Perhaps we could begin by learning more about each other, outside of diplomatic functions and ancient rituals. Lyra took his offered hand, feeling the strange, cool texture of his skin against hers. I'd like that. Above them, through the garden's transparent dome, a comet traced a brilliant path across the void, a fitting symbol for a journey just beginning. On Earth, Lyra said with a small smile, we make wishes on shooting stars. On Astralise Prime, Orion replied, his skin illuminating with warm golden patterns, we believe they mark the moment when two destinies align. As they stood together beneath the cosmic display, representatives of worlds separated by light years of space but connected by a single breath, the ancient stars continued their eternal dance, witness to the small miracles of understanding unfolding beneath their ageless gaze.